Hi everyone, back with another Q&A, this time with Anthony, who is everyone's favourite League Two club at the moment, a Bolton Wanderers fan. So, Anthony, welcome.
Hello.
I think you're up there with Salford for everyone's favourite League Two team at the moment.
Favourite as in most liked, or to go up?
Most liked. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, we're going to get straight in because there's a lot for us to talk about. So, we'll look back at last season, and obviously I know you don't really want to linger talking about last season, but for those who are watching, obviously you started on minus 12 points and had effectively a youth team for the first few matches. So what happened to kind of get into that situation?
Well, where do we start? So we obviously, the season before last, at the end of the season, we basically stopped being a fully functioning football club. Ken Anderson, the previous owner, whose name I'll try not to say too many times, basically he pulled all funding from the club. He'd had enough for whatever reason. Yes, and we went into administration, and then the administration process wasn't simple at all. So basically, as the summer went on, we weren't able to sign anybody really. We had loads of players in for training, but obviously we couldn't sign them up. So we got to a season. We got to a point.
Embargo? Was it like a transfer?
Yeah, we're still under a transfer embargo of sorts, but this was we couldn't literally register anybody while we were under administration. We did eventually get in Josh Earl on loan before the start of that season. Harry Brockbank, one of the young players, was able to sign a new contract. So we got 2 or 3 players in, but still we were horrendously short. We were relying on, it wasn't even just under 23 players. We were talking about second, third year scholars, whatever.
Yeah.
Filling up the bench. So that's where we got to. We had about 5 or 6 senior players, and that was about it. And even then, 2 of them wanted to leave.
I remember when FIFA 20 came out, looking at the Bolton team, and it was like effectively made up for player one, made up for player because there wasn't enough players.
That's it. I mean, the first game at Wickham wasn't too bad because we had about 5 or 6 still senior players and they played. But the following week we played Coventry, and there was another snag with the takeover, and that spooked the remaining senior players into not playing. So we saw the team before the Coventry game, and it was just okay. We've heard about 2 of these players before, and the rest, good luck if you were commentating on that game because you wouldn't know who any of the players were. Even the fans didn't know who half of them were, and we still got a draw.
Yeah, I mean, by all accounts, you put up a fight last season, like a real fight. The fact that I know they weren't great, but the fact that you did manage to close the gap to Southend, and without the points deduction, you would have finished way above them. It's credit that you did start like the young players that were playing and the ones that did come in September August, September. I mean, it must have been a difficult decision to move to Bolton given the circumstances they were in last season. Sorry.
Just
so everyone knows that wasn't actually for my flat, someone else's, so I've got no update for you. Right, carry on, Anthony.
Yeah, what you're saying about players wanting to come here. Yeah, the thing is, I think with the takeover, we got the takeover was passed the Wednesday before the summer deadline day.
Yeah.
We got a manager in on the Saturday night. So the first working day was transfer deadline day. So I think it was literally I think our transfer policy that day was, are you free? Do you want to play football this season? Come and play for us. Yeah. And that was it. And we still got some half decent players off the back of that. But
this amount of players, so let's find. Yeah. Did you, at any point last season, feel you were going to stay up?
There was a slight hope around early November. We won a few games on a row. We went to Bristol Rovers and won, and were pretty good. We beat Fleetwood, who finished in the playoffs.
Yeah.
We beat MK Dons in the last minute. And we put in a little bit of by then we were on positive points at least, and thought, we maybe got half a chance here. But then, yeah, it sort of fell around, and then particularly on New Year's Day we played Burton, and we were 2-0 up after about 10 minutes, and we were still losing, and then we went behind going into half time.
Yeah.
At that point, you just thought, no, and it sort of all fell apart from there. Really, we lost a few players. Thibaut Verlinden went back on. He was on loan from Stoke. He went back to Stoke. Liam Bridcut went back from. We had him on loan from Forest. He went back to his permanent club, and from there it just sort of we were drifted. And if anything, lockdown came at a good time because there was a little bit of apathy around March time.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we didn't follow League One as much last season, being League Two, but we kind of looked, and after really from the end of August when the games were not being played because the age of player, it was deemed effectively unfair for them to be in that situation. You did think, if they can somehow survive that season, they deserve Team of the Year or whatever, because it was up against you from obviously getting the 12-point deduction, but then not only that, but the gap being more than 12 points because of the games. And I think fair play to the whoever. I mean, I don't really know who the new owners are, but they seem to have stabilised the club. And yes, you have got relegated, but it seems that they have stopped that free fall, and that will level out now.
Yeah, they have. We haven't got loads of money, but we're now a fully functioning normal football club that pays their wages, and they seem to get it in terms of sort of realizing the importance of fans, local community, all that sort of stuff you look for. So yeah, they seem fairly sensible. We've got Sharon Britton's the front woman, if you like, of the group, but we've also got Michael James, who is a lifelong fan. So. Yeah, there is that local connection.
The right people seem to be back in charge.
Definitely. I mean, it's easy to have hindsight and stuff, but everybody, Ken Anderson's public disqualification as a company director was already known before he came into the club. And yet still he was somehow fit and proper, but that's another conversation.
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have all day to discuss just Ken Anderson.
No, I've got to go to work at 6:00.
So there's obviously been, it's well documented, and a lot of fans will obviously have seen the type of players you've signed. So we'll move on, because really, obviously last season it is very much a write-off. There's not really that Bolton from the 1920 campaign is a completely different Bolton to 2021. So who did you keep? Were there many players that have stuck around that had been deemed good enough to effectively stay? What's been the kind of outgoings looking like?
Outgoings, pretty much everybody, it seems. No, we had about 12. I think we kept about 12 players on from last season. Most of them were youth players still. I said senior players that did stay were Ali Crawford, who signed last season. He's a good number 10. Trying to go for it at the top of my head myself now. Harry Brockbank, a young centre-back, he signed a contract to start last season. Mainly younger players. Crawford's probably the one player who played week in, week out. Ronan Darcy, another. He's another good young player to watch.
It's keeping the players that were the young players that have put in a shift last season under really difficult circumstances and going, right, we want you to stay at the club because you served us well when we needed you, but also there is talent there.
We basically, our two most light young players I think were Ronan Darcy and Dennis Politic. Dennis Politic's actually out for the season with a bad injury he picked up in pre-season. But those are the two young players who, they signed contract. Well, Politic signed a contract in January as it was, and then Ronan Darcy signed his contract in the summer. So we've kept our better young players. Some of them quite simply weren't ready. It's good they were playing and stuff, and good that they stepped up, but really they were playing before they really should have been in the first team. Some of them have gone, of course, but we've kept young players.
They probably, in the nicest way possible, didn't want to be associated with the club anymore. If you've gone through that, even though there's a change, there's probably a lot of the younger players that have gone, I feel like I've done all I can here now.
I don't think it was their decision. I think the younger players who have left, I think it was probably, they weren't offered a new contracts. I don't know how much of it was their decision, but I think we've kept who we wanted to keep, really. Certainly the younger players. Maybe some of the senior players, some of them moved on.
So you've had a pretty well-documented incomings list. You must be happy with the quality of player that has been brought in.
Yeah, pretty much. Obviously we went big and early with Owen Doyle and Anthony Sarcevic, 2 players who have done it, got the t-shirt at this level.
I've got to admit, 2 players that I'm surprised have stayed in League Two. I'm very surprised that they've not decided that they'd rather be in League One.
I think a lot of it was family, because Owen Doyle and Sarcevic is a Mancunian, and Owen Doyle lives in sort of West Yorkshire, maybe. He's played for Preston and stuff. So I think geography has played a massive, massive part.
Which at the moment, also, you've kind of, throughout a lot of these videos, there's been, the last one I did was with a guy called Joel talking about Morecambe. And he said there's a couple of players that he would never really have thought that were Morecambe signings, but they are based local and they are kind of localish to Morecambe. And I think it's something that we're starting to see a bit more, especially in the lower leagues, that players are going, wages probably not as high as they were, so you've got to consider travel, location, family. It is an important part of signing now for lower league clubs.
I suppose this whole sort of pandemic has probably focused that as well for a lot of people. Maybe they want to be close to the family and things like that. But I think that was a big part of us getting Doyle and Sarcevic. If we were in the middle of nowhere, then we probably would have gotten them. But now we're quite close to home for both of them. So
it's looking good. So go with, because there's a lot. Who else has come in? What's your sort of team looking like now? Ready for this will probably go out. We're recording this on Thursday, so it'll either go out tonight or tomorrow. So what's your squad looking like for the weekend?
So I think goalkeeper is pretty much sorted. I think the number one now will be Billy Crellin, who's on Fleetwood. Current or former England Youth International, but he's been pretty good in the cup games we've had so far. Back three's up for debate a little bit. Ryan Delaney, one of the few players who were here last season. He could be used. We've re-signed Alex Baptiste, who we had a few years ago. He's for the. It's quite a young squad, so he's sort of the token elder statesman at the back, if you like. But then after that,
he's in his 30s, isn't he?
Alex Baptiste about 36, yes.
I was going to say it's not, but it's League Two. If you anchor him in the middle of a defence, where, especially the back three, where
that's it, he's going to play in the middle of the back three.
You need someone that can read the game rather than is your kind of, the legs of the back three. Sorry, carry on.
That's okay. I think the back three is still sort of up for debate a bit. We've sort of chopped and changed, and we don't know who is, we don't know what is the best back three yet. But we have signed lots of a lot of our centre backs are big and quick. George Taft, Ricardo Santos from Barnet, a guy called Reece Granny's been playing out in Norway of all places, but he's ex-Arsenal and West Brom through their youth academies or whatever. Wing backs, left back will probably Liam Gordon. He signed from Dagenham and Redbridge, so a bit of a unknown quantity out of non-league. Gethin Jones, who played for Carlisle last season, will probably be our right back. Midfield, I think that's a bit more cut and dry. Although Tom White played very well against Bradford at the weekend, so he could stake a claim. But Brandon Comley, defensive midfielder from Colchester.
That's very exciting. Very good signing.
Yeah, Sarcevic he's club captain, so he will almost certainly start. Ali Crawford, he'll be behind front two. Then up top,
signing, then it's starting, then there is something wrong with,
yeah,
with the club.
yeah. Then up top, I think that is more common for us. Ian Evatt has said Owen Doyle and Nathan Delfonso, if I can say his name properly. They'll be the first choice partnership throughout the season. So yeah, it looks as though we're going to play 3-5-2 or 3-4-1-2, however you want to sort of cut it. But yeah, that's the system that got Barrow up last season, and he's going to stick with that.
Yeah, that's an interesting. It brings me on to my next point, or next couple. I mean, obviously, that starting 11 is, like you said, you've got a few kind of staple League Two players in there. Like you've got Doyle, you've got Sarkovic, you've got Baptiste, who at this level he's got a lot of experience to be brought in. You've got the likes of, completely lost his name, but the guy from Carlisle, who, although
Kevin Jones,
won like at the top of their game, he's a League Two experienced player. But then you've also got, like you said, a couple of players from non-league or from the National League that are a bit of an unknown quantity, but kind of add a bit of balance in that squad. What's the depth looking like outside of that 11? Are you still? Because obviously there was a lot of players that needed to come in.
Yeah, I definitely think we need another striker. Yeah, because we're going to play two up front, it seems. So Doyle and Alfonso are the first choice partnership. We did sign Sean Miller last weekend from Crewe.
Yeah,
and he came off the bench on Tuesday night and scored. So that's a good start.
Yeah,
maybe another striker. I think Evatt said he wanted another striker, so one more. I think that'll be fine. I think midfield we're fine as well. You know, we've got Tom White to push for competition. Andrew Tutte, I forgot his name, right? Yeah, he signed from Morecambe.
Yeah, I was going to say, because haven't you signed two from Morecambe?
I don't think so. Tutte was one of them. I don't think we signed anybody else from Morecambe.
Again, it's a sort of League Two experience that you can bring off the bench. That although they're not going to be playing week in, week out, but with the turnover of games and the midweek games, you look to someone like Andrew Tutte and go, he can do a job for a game.
Yeah. He will be back up, but he knows the league. He's a very good free kick taker from what I've seen. So yeah, we look all right. We've still got a few very young players as well. Ronald Darcy will be involved.
Yeah,
even if he's not starting every week, he will be involved. Yeah, we've got a strong squad. Some people said we're going to, win the league by God knows how many points. I've even seen one Bolton fan put on a bet, that will go unbeaten. None of that's going to happen, but, everybody wants, Ian Evatt wants promotion. The fans want promotion. We all expect promotion. If we don't get promoted, this season will be failure.
I'm about to ask you a question and then actually switch my laptop on charge because I plugged it in, switch it on. So, one of the big talking points, obviously before the signings really started coming in, was the appointment of Ian Evatt. Was he the man you wanted? Is he sort of Bolton fans? Was he the number one choice? How has he kind of handled himself in the 1-2 months that he's been in charge? And while you start talking, I'm going to switch that on.
Okay. I can start talking, yeah?
Yeah, go for it.
Sorry. Right, yeah. He's been, he was, I don't want to say we're first choice because my memory's not good enough to remember if there's anybody who was but yeah, I think from the start, I think everyone was quite positive about the idea of getting him.
Yeah.
I think there was a general feeling that we might have gone for somebody out of work. So, to actually go and headhunt somebody was quite nice in itself as well. And Evatt's been really impressive as well. The style of football he wants to play. I mean, I'm a massive fan of Phil Parkinson. He did absolutely brilliantly for us. But a lot of fans, found it quite hard to watch his football at times. We could go 1-0 up early in the game and we'd be defending for 80 minutes and it was quite sort of nervy.
Yeah.
But, so it'd be nice, I think people are quite excited about the idea of a Bolton team that keeps the ball, wants to get forward, wants to score goals. And we've seen, it's not perfect yet, but even in the early games, Bradford, we've dominated possession against Bradford. in both games, our wing backs have got forward. We scored in both games so far. So, yeah, there's elements of that already. And I think people are quite impressed by him. He seems a quite good communicator. You know exactly what you want from him as a player, probably. He seems very clear in terms of what he wants, why he signed a particular player, when he's when a player's been unveiled. So, yeah, he seems very, very clear in what he wants to do with us.
The first set of these videos was actually with a Barrow fan. Mm-hmm. They made not a bold claim, but I think the frustration with Barrow fans towards Evatt is that he really worked on a team. He got a really good crop of players together and got really good team spirit. And what I think Barrow fans feel is that it was everyone in the club was working together to gain promotion. For him to then leave felt like a real blow, especially to a team in League Two. Would you say that it is a real step up for him, or was it a bit of a surprise to see him go from a team that's just been promoted to another team that's in League Two, albeit by relegation?
Yeah, I think you have to say Barrow to Bolton is a massive step up. I mean, I could be saying this now and then. Come May, Barrow might finish above us in the league. You just never know. So, yeah, I don't want to, you've got to add that caveat. But, I mean, you've got to look at Barrow's ground, Barrow's facilities, and then look at Bolton's ground, Bolton's ground, Bolton's facilities. If Evatt might do well with us, then go off to another bigger club. That's a football food chain for you. But, I think Evatt could take us further than he could probably take Barrow, with all due respect to Barrow. So, no, I don't think, I think it's fair enough that he will come to us.
So, I mean, everyone who kind of watches these videos, I'm sure, are on plenty of League Two banter groups and whatever on Facebook. But it does seem that people like Bolton losing at the moment after the summer they've had. How have your first two games gone? You're talking about, obviously, Evatt bringing in his system. You are 2 losses in against, if my memory serves me right, it was 2-1 against Bradford.
Correct.
And it was
Bradford was Carabao Cup, and then we lost 3-2 to Crewe on Tuesday night. That was in the EFL Trophy.
So have you seen positives that make you go, okay, we've lost, but we are doing the right things? Like, what have your take
definitely,
on the matches been?
Yeah, definitely. Against Bradford, we dominated the ball. The goal was an 18 pass move straight from kickoff. Already elements of the way he wants to play there. In both games, the wing backs have got forward and put balls into the box. That's what he wants them to do. The Crewe game, second half, we're probably a better side in second half. The big worry at the moment is just defensively. Conceded some soft goals. We've done too easily by a ball, like an easy ball in, and League Two teams will play those balls, and
is it
at the moment they will do us.
Is it not the back three not knowing each other's game yet, or
it could be?
Is it a case of your wing backs, however great they are going forward, need to also come back? Like, what's been your take? Because 5 goals conceded in a couple of games, you do look and you go, what is the issue here?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a bit of both. I mean, the first goal against Crewe on Tuesday night, it was a set piece. Can't blame the wing backs for that. You put the ball in, and we've got big centre backs, and they still won't win the ball. It's like, come on, lads, what are you doing? I can understand the sort of argument with the wing backs as well. Players of I think it was Bradford's first goal on Saturday. They just got behind the wing back position and put a great ball in, to be fair, but still, how did they get into that position in the first place? But it's the whole team needs to defend together. I mean, another thing Crewe on Tuesday night, their centre back was just allowed to sort of maraud into our half. It's like somebody pressing, So I think it's the whole team needs to sort of defend together, and that needs working on. But if we do work on that, then I think we'll be all right, because there's already going forward. There's already sort of elements of
Well, you've got Doyle up top. I mean, no
Yeah.
matter you back him to in this league. If it clips going forward early days, you back him to be on at like 20 goals a season, especially after
Yeah,
his campaign. He is. As soon as he has a bit of confidence, he's just
yeah.
scoring up. He's in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, I mean, he should have scored on Tuesday night. He was through on goal and just put it the wrong side, but he got into a great position. And that was, Saturday was anonymous on Saturday. He was just dropping too deep and, not getting into the positions he wanted to get into. But yeah, much better on Tuesday. Now he just needs to actually score. But yeah, once he gets going, then he'll be fine.
Was it 24, 25 goals last season?
25, wasn't it? And obviously the season was curtailed, so it's even a bigger achievement.
You think he could have had some obscenely high numbers? Well,
Yeah,
they were, but you kind of think if you get 25 goals in a normal 46 game season, wow.
you're doing well, yeah.
35? You think, come on.
Yeah, I don't expect him to hit those sort of numbers this season just because, they were freakishly good. But yeah, no, we've got obviously a man who knows where the net is in this division. So yeah, as long as he sort of, Delfonso's there to sort of help him and drop deep and do that work for him. So yeah, we could sort of hopefully just keep him in the box and get him into the positions to score.
Yeah.
And it'll come.
Yeah. You don't need a lot. You don't need a system, really, I feel, for Doyle to score. You just need to be, I say it's not a system, but just get him the ball in and around.
Yeah, I think he's a player who prefers to have the ball to feet. I don't think, just sticking in crosses for him. He's that's not the best, going to get the best out of him. I think he needs the ball to feet, but we'll do that.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah, that's then when your wing backs have to be smart and not just go, right, I'm near the box, let's whip a cross in. They've got to be smart with it. But like you said, it'll come. They're still a team that are gelling. So obviously Evatt has said that this 5-3-2 or 3-5-2, however you see it, will be the system. Couple of negative results. Who's your first game on Saturday?
We're at home to Forest Green.
Okay, so Forest Green. I don't know how they did midweek, but I know. Was it 2? I think they lost 2-1 in the Carabao Cup. Do you see? How do you see the season panning out? Obviously, like you said, the fans want promotion. The players that you've signed are of, especially the marquee signings. You've got Baptiste, and then you've got Sarkovic and Doyle, who are, arguably team of the, well, obviously Doyle, and Sarkovic, team of the season last season in League Two. You've got that quality there. Would anything outside the top three be seen as a bad season? What's your view on it? Because obviously you're the bookies' favourite. A lot of players, a lot of fans in League Two expect you to be top three, and I think from what I've seen, a lot of Bolton fans expect you to be top three. So what's your take on it all?
Yeah, I think we need to be top three. Yeah, I mean, if you finish fourth on stupidly high number of points, then you can't really turn around and say the season's been necessarily a disaster. But we do need to go up, and if we don't go up, then people aren't going to be happy. But yeah, I think I think we should be looking at automatic promotion. Not necessarily win the league. Do our other good teams down. We don't have a divine right to walk the league or anything. But yeah, I think we should should sign enough, and we should be we should have enough about us to go up automatically. I think top three.
The big thing, obviously, last season there were, especially at the stage of the season where it was curtailed, it was in that real point where you've got 4 or 5 teams that are pushing for it, that in a normal season tends to, as the season goes on, there's that bit of a divide where it does create a bit of a gap. But like you said, there are teams that will be looking to mix it up at the top. Obviously, Exeter and Cheltenham feel that they've got unfinished business. Salford have recruited well, even though they got absolutely battered 6-0 last night, which everyone loved seeing. I would hope that Walsall look like we've had a first couple of games that if things click, if we like hit the ground running in front of goal, we will be looking at top 10, hopefully top 7. But I think there's a lot of teams that will be, like you said, I think if you don't go up in the top 3, I think it will be because there's been a lot of teams having good seasons rather than you not having a good season. Would you agree that really this campaign for you is going to be, you've got a very talented team, but there's a lot of other clubs in League Two that have got very settled teams that are already.
I know what you mean, yeah.
Do you feel that that's going to be the kind of deciding factor for League Two as a whole?
I don't know overall, but I mean, it could mean, we start, we might not start out, we might not start rolling out of the blocks, winning 5 or 6 games in the bounce. It's probably not going to happen. And I think Evatt's also sort of said that himself. He says, we're not going to be, the finished product just yet or whatever. So, yeah, I think over a season, things will change. There'll be various factors at play. Players will get in. Players will have injury. Teams will have injury crises even.
Especially with the number of fixtures in Saturday, Tuesday. There's a lot and there's a risk there.
Yeah.
Especially.
You froze for a minute then. Yeah.
There's a risk there with all clubs that slightly smaller squads with youth players in, a couple of injuries will, I think this season more than ever, really determine a season.
Yes.
I normally do like a key player, key youth player. Now, with the key player, I'm going to ask you to not choose Doyle or Sarkovic because
fair enough.
For the fans that are watching, who would you say is going to be your kind of maybe curveball key player?
I would say Brandon Comley. Yeah, probably he probably won't stand out in terms of sort of goals or assists or anything like that, but he is sort of a decent central midfielder,
Yeah, the glue
at this level. Yeah. He'll be, probably the most defensive of the three midfielders, but yeah, I think it'll be quite important for us sort of in the middle of the park, quite a hard worker, yeah.
It's often a position that from the outside you don't really look and you won't, like you said, he's not going to be scoring 8 or 9 goals out of midfield and he's not going to be the guy that's sort of edge of the box picking out the passes. He's going to be doing the dirty work and the sort of covering player when the wing backs push on. So, yeah, but I mean, I think a lot of League Two, when he was released from Colchester, a lot of League Two clubs or fans were going, oh, that'd be a good signing.
Yeah, we got him, and I don't think geography even came into, because he's a North London lad, and he's signing from Colchester, so yeah, to bring him up here as well is, yeah, probably quite some achievement.
Yeah,
I'd say Ali Crawford as well, probably in the number 10 position. He was with us last season. Quite good with the ball, good from free kicks. Yeah, so yeah, those two, I think.
How old is Crawford?
Crawford's about 29, I think. Don't know his exact age, but yeah, I think he's just about the right side of 30. But he's not young.
Yeah. So who would you say the hot prospects is for the season, or maybe the player that could have a bit of a breakthrough from maybe the younger crop of players at Bolton?
I'd say it's one of, well, you say our crop of younger players, and I think Ronan Darcy will probably be the big one. Darcy's already played for us a lot last season. Obviously, he was part of the youth setup. That pretty much got us through the opening few games. He also had one or two games in the Championship a couple of seasons ago. Or one. No, one. He'll play one final day of our last Championship season. So yeah, he's been around. It's hard to call him a breakthrough prospect because he's been around for a couple of seasons now, but he's still only 20. Yeah,
those seasons he's been played in difficult times, whereas this season he'll be in a settled team, a kind of positive Bolton rather than a declining Bolton. Well,
yeah, when he plays this season, he'll be playing because Ian Evatt thinks he's the best person for the job on that given day, rather than we've got to throw somebody in here at the deep end.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, he's a good young player. I think he had been linked with some Premier League clubs, but it's just, it's not, thankfully, it's not, they've not snapped him up yet.
Yeah. This is the part where I normally ask sort of, what does your head and heart think you'll finish? But obviously it's going top three. So instead, if you didn't achieve promotion this season, would you say that new manager? What do you think that Evatt has got one season to get you up, and that's that, or what do you kind of feel on this season? Obviously, if it goes right, fantastic, back in League One. But if it doesn't, have you got any fears for this season?
Yeah, we've got fears that we could end up finishing at 17th or 18th. Anything that following Bolton over the last 10 years has taught me is like, if something can go spectacularly wrong, it probably will happen. Just so it could go massively. I don't know if this is a family video, but it could go massively tits up. You can edit that out if you want.
Tits up is the better phrase if possible.
But look, nothing's ever certain. We're not guaranteed to go up or anything like that. I would say that if we do miss out on promotion, then I suppose it depends on the way we miss promotion. If we miss out on automatic promotion by a point and then we're a bit unlucky in the playoffs, then you can't really sack Evatt. I wouldn't really want to just sack Evatt just for the sake of it. Especially if there's been promise throughout the season. I suppose it depends. You have to see how the season pans out, how we, if we do miss out, how we've missed out. Then you make a decision then. What I would say is that obviously there will be questions asked of somebody, whether that's players, manager, or even higher up, if we don't go up.
Yeah,
because we've only, we've been in League Two before, and that was only one season. So this is only the second season out of history, and as a fourth tier club.
Yeah,
clubs deserve to be where they are because of what they've done on the field, but we're in League Two because something has gone seriously wrong, and we need to be, sort of getting this sorted and getting back up the leagues, sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I think for me, I did a chat with Gabriel Sutton, who does Football Lab, who's at Football Lab on Twitter, and he's very swatted up, and he sort of said, as a lot of people are, when they're doing their table predictions, Bolton are first or at least top three.
Yeah.
From my personal point of view, I think it all rests on your first 5-10 games. I think if this team can hit the ground running, you will achieve automatics. I'm not going to say win the league, because really, I think for yourselves, it's just about getting back into League One. Doesn't matter if you're first or third, it's about promotion. But I think if it takes a while, if it does take the players time to gel, get used to whatever is asking them to do, I think you'd be a surprise playoff candidate rather than top three. But I think it is going to be a big September, October for yourselves.
Yeah, it's a long season, so obviously we don't want to be cut adrift, But if we don't win, if we don't win our first 5-6 games, it's not the end of
I don't think
we don't win all of them.
But I think I know from a Walsall perspective last season, we really were off the boil early on, and we had an atrocious October, and we were, I think, at one point 20th, 21st.
Yeah.
But from sort of December onwards, our form was top 7.
Yeah.
And at the end of the season, I think we were second on the form in our last 5 games, and that included games against Northampton, Exeter, and Port Vale. 3 good, Northampton got promoted, Exeter in the playoffs, and Port Vale were
just missed out. Yeah.
And we were top 2 form.
Yeah.
But we were so far adrift that we achieved a 12th place finish.
That's it. You don't want to be that far adrift. But I remember when we got promoted from League One a few years ago, we started brilliant. We won our first 5 games, but then we had really bad September, and we were sort of end September, start of October. We were about 10th, I think, or something like that, and we scraped to win at Swindon, and that sort of got us going again. But yeah, we didn't have, all things considered, we probably didn't have the best first 2 months in that League One campaign, but we did get promoted automatically in the end on the final day. So obviously you don't want to get too cut far behind, but if we've got any less than 18 points from 18, I don't think there's any need for a meltdown straight away.
Right, so finally, it's weird being able to do this, but what do you think your result's going to be over the weekend? Or what do you hope, obviously hope, but what do you think will be the outcome of the game with Forest Green?
It looks a tough one. First game of the season. I don't really know too much about Forest Green myself. Not much in depth. Obviously, the defence is still a worry, but it might be we're building towards this. Then first league game of the season, things click.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's enough about us. I'm just a little bit worried about the defence after the first couple of games I've seen. But if we can sort of cut out some of that at the back a bit, then I think we'll at least win the game. But I'll go for 2-1. I don't think we'll keep a clean sheet.
I think from what I know about your squad and from what sort of Forest Green of last season, they had a good season 2 seasons ago. I think they finished playoffs.
They did. Yeah, lost to Tranmere.
Yeah, and then they were on playoff form last season, and then they just really went off the boil. They really started to decline. So from my point of view, I don't really know what Forest Green are going to turn up. Whether but I think it's an interesting one for you because they will be at the very least a good League Two team this season.
Yeah, certainly. I don't think they'll be sort of relegation candidates or anything. So yeah, it would be a half decent barometer of where we are maybe.
Yeah.
The following week's probably the big one. We're away to Colchester, so that's going to be a really early litmus test of how we can do in the league.
For the life of me, I have no idea when we're playing, but I think hopefully it'll be quite a good game. And yeah, thank you for coming on. Thanks for giving us an insight into Bolton, and good luck for the season. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You too. Yeah.